Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Estancia Lapacho here in Paraguay. We are just running along the plateau up here, and this is my last time round the edge of the field, and I'm hoping after this we will then be able to start the hired help doing a little bit of work, because we've got a few other things that we want to test this week. I'm just going to bring it up over to this end, and we'll see if we'll be able to actually turn it around using the hired help, if he's got enough room to do it yet. I'm hoping he has, actually. I think this could actually work out quite nicely. I'm going to bring it all the way over to here and then line it up straight down there, and I'd like it to be able to do it from this angle, if at all possible. Is it going to work? There we go. Let's just press H, and hired help is in. Is it going to be able to turn round without tipping off the edge of the plateau? It's not looking likely. However, it's got... That is not the way that it's supposed to do it. That wasn't part of the master plan that I had all carefully laid out in my mind. It wasn't supposed... I wonder what it's going to be like on this end. I suspect that this is going to be equally horrific. It's a bit slow up there. Right, now what's it going to do? Don't do anything that we're going to regret. Well, it's done that one all right. It's whether or not it does the same down its end. Anyway, before I fall helplessly into laughter once again, my weekly question, the map that we are going to be changing to, I want to get an idea of what you all want for it. So do you want arable map next, do you want an arable map next, or do you want a mixture of the two? It's your vote, it's your game. Head into the comment section down below. This is ridiculous. You'd think that they'd be able to sort of... Yeah, hang on. Head into the comments section down below. Let us know which one you want and why. And of course, don't forget to cast your vote up in the top right-hand corner. Right. But yes, this is absolutely ridiculous. Driving off the edge of the plateau like that. You'd think that they'd kind of be able to sense, like, the depth of the drop that's coming up right here. I mean, it's like when they're trying to drive up over the big rocks. This is what I like about games like this. You know, they follow the rules of the game, and unless you sort of, like, plan for every contingency and eventuality, there's always something that's going to come up. So I'm kind of wondering what FS17 is going to be able to do for this, and whether or not we're going to have a smooth sort of edge of the field work, and how they're going to do the edge of the field, because obviously in real life you wouldn't do that, would you? You'd turn on the headland and then you'd be able to carry back on again. Now what's it going to do? I think maybe I need to go up that strip of field. It's just holding itself in. I'm wondering if I need to go sort of just work along that strip of the field, or just do one more up that side, because we did do an extra one on that side, so it's worked up there. So maybe it's just this side that needs a little bit of work. I'm not quite sure. It's quite a pleasing sight, really, watching this one go through. I really do like the undulating ground here. I mean, you wouldn't be able to use huge machinery here for this, but I'd like to see more fields like this. I'd like to see more fields with uneven ground like this, because it's absolutely it's really satisfying watching it work and watching machines that work on it. But like when you come to combining, you'd need a short machine. You wouldn't be able to have a really wide 30-foot header on here. It wouldn't work. You'd have to have a small header, and I don't know, I think we're sort of missing a trick here with this game, because how many fields do you get that have really got uneven ground like this in them when you're working them? Because everybody sort of takes into account what it'd be like to work with big machinery, and then the big machinery can't operate on uneven ground like that. It doesn't seem... It's doing it just. It's doing it... I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it running like this just because it's able to just manage to get round on the corners. I'm curious what it's going to be like. So, I am planning today to take wonderful JCB. If you remember, I said that I'm doing... I did last episode and I'm doing this episode with keyboard steering. I'm not using my my normal... steering wheel that I use and my joystick. And for those of you, I get this question every single week without fail. I use a Logitech Attack 3 joystick ordinarily. I bought that one off of eBay. It cost me, I think it was about £3. It may have been £5. I definitely didn't buy it new. I bought it used, second hand. It turned up, it worked fine. You don't need anything fancy on a joystick for Farming Simulator. You just need something that will do the different positions on, you know, when you move the joystick. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. It's got a couple of buttons on the top, and those buttons I've got mapped now for various controls when it comes to using the different machines and that. So you can open and close the grab, you can lift it and lower it. And I'll show you. I'm actually going to talk you through that in a bit. And then I also use a steering wheel, which is, I can never actually remember the name. I'm just peering down at it a minute. Where are we? Hang on a minute. It is a Logitech Driving Force GT. I always forget what it is, but yeah, it's a Logitech Driving Force GT steering wheel. Some games, that steering wheel is not actually recognized very well, which is a bit of a nuisance. Most games, there are very, very few games where I've had issues getting it recognized. If steering wheel support is there, then it will be recognized. It's a cheap alternative to... what is the big one? It's the Logitech, like, G29 or something like that. I can't really remember, but it's quite an expensive and pricey steering wheel. It's considered to be one of the best ones available on the market. I didn't have the money to be buying really, really expensive steering wheels, and quite frankly, I still don't have the money to be buying really expensive steering wheels. I have things like bills that I have to pay, unfortunately. So I stick with this steering wheel. I've never had a problem with it. It's got a little bit of the force feedback, so it's like it's difficult to steer at times. I don't really tend to notice that very much. I just notice that it doesn't spin really easily. I didn't go for the absolute budget option because a real budget option, that they spin really, really easily. You can like do it with a finger, whereas this one, it does have some resistance on it, and that makes it much more satisfying to actually drive. It feels more like a real steering wheel rather than just a cheap piece of plastic. It's got 2 pedals. It doesn't have a 3-pedal it may have a 3-pedal option, but my option wasn't a 3-pedal model. Mine's a 2-pedal model. For most games, that's not going to be a problem. For you guys in the States, you're probably wondering why you'd need 3 pedals anyway. I know some of you will be. Some of you will know what the clutch is for. But very often, like here in the UK, it's unusual to have an automatic car. All of your vehicles in the States are automatic. You hardly have any that you've actually got a gear stick with. And you know, gear stick and clutch, and whereas in this country it's completely the opposite. It's unusual to find the automatic cars. They are becoming more popular these days. I mean, I do actually have an automatic car. I've got an old rubbishy work car that's currently off the road. That is just a normal car in this country, which so it's got a gear stick. It's 5 gears forward, 1 gear backwards, and it's got a clutch which you use to change gear. But then we've also got an automatic car. But the reason we have an automatic car is because of my wife's illness. She, her MS has... It basically means that her left leg is unusually weak, and because of that, she's not able to drive a normal car with a clutch anymore. She stopped being able to do that several years ago. She just doesn't have the strength to press the clutch, and so we went and got an automatic car, and it works really well because you use your right leg for doing the driving, and then that works out just fine. So she can drive that one around. To me, when you get into an automatic car, it's like driving an overpriced go-kart. It really is. It just feels like driving a go-kart. You go to like a fun fair or something, and they have go-karts there for you to play around on, and that's what driving an automatic car feels like. It doesn't really feel like you're driving, because you're not changing the gear. You're not choosing what gear you're driving around in. It does feel a little bit odd. It does take a bit of getting used to. However, with the steering wheel, that's really your only option. If you want a 3-pedal, I know that there are 3-pedal varieties available, but I think that they generally cost more money. I think they are more expensive. He's doing all right. I mean, he is driving off the edge of the plateau every single time, but he's doing all right. Right, we've watched this one for enough. I've been here for probably nearly 10 minutes watching that one, so we don't want that one anymore. We're going to go to this one right here. Now, I'm not going to mess around with that tree stump right now, but what I am going to do is I'm going to leave this wood chipper up here. I'm actually just going to move it up this way a bit. I'm going to leave it here, like this, and can I unhitch it? Yes, I can unhitch it from the cab. Right, we'll do that. And we're going to go down to the farm. We're going to ease our way off the edge of the plateau. We're going to do this a little bit more sensibly than we did with the Challenger yesterday. I'm aware that probably was a bit painful for some of you to watch. We're going to go over here and we're going to see if we can get down here somewhere a little more easily than having to go all the way around. It would be really nice if we could actually build a road up here. We've got the well right here. A number of people suggested this might be a good spot to try and build a ramp up onto this plateau. And it's actually quite steep right there next to me, but there is a bit over here that looks promising. Right there, look. There's a little bit right there. It just sort of eases down. It's not all that steep, and I reckon that we could actually build a road out this way. We could bring it along here, and we could come up this way, and we'll just bring it along here and join up with this bit of road here, and then we're all sort of joined in, and when we can carry on. So that's definitely a possibility for the future. I quite like that idea. We may well go and do that at some point. Quite when, I don't really know yet, but it is definitely on the cards. Now, what I was actually hoping to do... Helper M has completed... No, you have not completed your task. I know this for a fact. You've definitely not completed your task. Look, if we go here, we go to growth, cultivated, there. Look at that. He's lied to me because they do that. They turn round and they get to that point and then they decide they can't go any further. But if I move him forward a tiny bit like that, then he's fine. I really don't get this. I mean, what is this? Is this some kind of strike action that you're planning? I don't really get it. But anyway, we'll let that one carry on over there. We want to go back over to this one. No, what I'm actually going to need to do is I'm going to need to go to the shop. We want to go and get a bale grab, and then we can come back here to the yard, and we can start loading up. And the plan is we're going to handle a few bales using this one. I'm going to bring the bales out, and we're going to try and stack a couple of them up with me using keyboard steering and using the mouse. I will just show you what controls I kind of set up on my joystick, because I get so many questions about this. I thought I'd address it one day in an episode, and this seems to be quite good because I am talking about a bit with the whole keyboard steering attempt. So let me just grab this grab, and then I will meet you back in the yard. You don't have a lot of options really for well, I don't have a lot of options on here at the moment. I normally have another mod that has got a whole load of extra... Yeah, I've got the mod... No. Actually, I don't. I normally have a mod active that gives you a whole load of extra options for things that you can use. But this one right here, this Kotek fork... Is it Kotek or Koteki? Kotek, I think. Fork with claws is my go-to choice every time. That one you can use on the wheel loaders or the load-alls, telehandlers, whichever you want to call them. This is my go-to. I absolutely love this fork. You do still, even when you've engaged these forks up here, you do still get the bales moving around a bit because they tend to drift forward on the forks that I've noticed when I'm doing a lot of bale work. And that is one thing, it's just a little bit frustrating about using anything, but Helper G has completed their task again. And we know that he hasn't. We know that he's lying. He just can't be bothered to do his work. He sat up there thinking, I'm going to have a bit of a picnic up here. And this is where it starts to get difficult, is where you're trying to move stuff around. You can do it like that. And we know that with... I do like the JCB. It can tilt back further. When you're using a telehandler, it doesn't tend to tilt this one back so far. And you end up getting sort of about there, which is... It can be a bit of a nuisance. Oh, yeah, great. I forgot about courseplay. I still haven't changed the button for that. There was a way to do that, somebody said. Is it on here? There we go. We go into settings, which is that one right there. And open HUD with... Now, you can go mouse right. I'm going to click on that one right there. Oh, left control and delete. Mouse right. Ah, I see. I thought if you clicked on it, you'd be able to choose. But no. So, left control and delete will now open HUD. You know I'm going to forget that. It's going to be, in a couple weeks' time, I'm going to want to use it, and I'm going to have completely forgotten that it's left control and delete, and I'll have no clue. And if I do this, is it going to tell me? Left control keypad 0 for GPS. Yeah, I'm going to forget, aren't I? I'm definitely going to forget. We'll see. Now, driving this one in cab is never a really good experience, because your camera view doesn't turn. Now, if you were driving this in real life, you would almost certainly have your view following that one around. As you were turning, you would be watching what the forks are doing. But whereas in this one, the forks just drift off out of view, which is not particularly pleasant. But no, I just wanted to show you what I do with the joystick. Now, obviously, I can't actually show you the joystick because I don't have camera set up. But what I can do is I can sort of show you the controls. And if you just look here, the reason I'm in cab is that's where the joystick is. And the joystick is on that position for just about every type of machine. You'll always, all the controls are on the right-hand side. So I've got my mouse just to the right of me, and the keyboard is slightly left of center of me on my desk. And then to the right-hand side of the mouse, I have my joystick. And I have the joystick set exactly the same. So pull back on the joystick and it rises up, and push down, push forward on the joystick for it to go down. So it is inverted, and this is actually how it operates on any real-life machinery. It's inverted like that. You pull back to lift up, and you push down to move down like that. The reason for that is it kind of operates much the same as an aeroplane, but it is kind of more of an instinctive thing. If you've played a lot of computer games without inverted controllers, then this may seem a little bit alien to you, and I have seen people mapping them the other way. But I'm not aware of any machines where you can change the maps around. So it's always pull back to lift and push forward to go down. So much the same way that an aeroplane joystick works. So then you've got the crowding. Now, to crowd it back, you pull it towards you. So you lean it inward, so you move the joystick to the left. And to crowd it away from you, so you're always, when you're saying crowd it towards you and away from you, you're always talking about the top of the machine. You're always talking about the top of the object that's in front of you. So to crowd it, you pull it towards you, and then to tip it, you push it away. And that is generally, I mean, it's the terms that I've always been told. That is crowding. So you're crowding it back, and that is tipping it, so you're pushing it away from you. So that way I'm pushing the joystick to the right, and that way I'm pulling the joystick back towards me. And my joystick is set up quite sensitive, so it does tend to move the other axis as well while I'm moving this one. So I can do both at the same time, and that's what I like about this. I really don't like with the mouse control is you can't do both at the same time. So doing both at the same time, I'm able to have the I can sort of use it as self-leveling whenever I'm doing it, and I can do this with any machine just by adjusting the position of the joystick, which makes it really easy. So then I've got the engaging of the different machines. Now I've got two sets of buttons on the top of my joystick. I've got an up and down button, which I use for engaging these, and then I've got another set of buttons which are the two buttons side to side. Now when I used to drive Lodals, where is my Lodal? Where's it gone? I think it's round the other side, isn't it? Where are you? We've got a Lodal here somewhere. I kind of need this to show you the next bit, which is the boom extension. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the boom extension. So we lift this one up. Now, when I used to drive these machines right here, it was a Merlot. It was actually a Merlot that I had. The joystick, well, it sort of looked like that, except not quite. Now, I can't quite show you. It didn't have those two grey buttons on the front. What I actually had was a separate lever on the side for engaging a grab, for opening and closing a grab. And then I had the joystick there, and it was actually back a little bit more towards the arm, so that you didn't have to hold your arm out in front of you very much. It was very comfortable sat while you sat into the seat. And there's two buttons on the front of it. There was two red buttons on the front of it. And the button nearest to me, I would push that one and it would push the boom out like that. And then the button furthest away from me, I would push that one and pull the boom back in. Now, the one thing that I didn't like with the Merlot was the fact that it was on a button. You weren't able to do it slowly. Like here, I don't have an on and off button for raising this boom. So I can do it very, very slowly if I want to. I can just move it in very slow increments, or I can do it faster like this because I'm using the joystick. But you can't do that with a button. It's either going in or out, right? It doesn't have a controlled speed axis. And other machines that I have driven in the past, they had a separate lever beside that one, which was for the boom extension going in and out. And so if you've got a separate lever and the boom extension is going in and out, you've got a lot more control over it. You've got speed control, and the whole thing doesn't happen instantly. So it's not either on or off. And the on or off bit did take a bit of getting used to, but I generally found that once I got it just meant that I had to slightly adapt the way that I drove the machine. And I didn't do, I very rarely needed to move the boom in or out in order to adjust something. I changed the way that I would drive it. So I would use a raising and lowering of the boom or crowding of the implement on the front in order to make any adjustments that I needed to make. Now, what do I press to access this one? It's, no, E, R, R. There we go. We pressed R. So round bale silage, I want... How many of these? I can't remember now. Do we put 2 of these in? We're going to put 2 of these in this time anyway. So we're going to go like that, and we're going to go OK. And that is going to put 2 round bales of silage out there. And then we're going to come over here, and we're going to take our other 2 bales. We're going to put 1 of these. Okay. No, +1. There we go. And I'm going to do it again, and this time I'm going to go for a straw bale, +1, and OK. I think I actually do it the other way around normally. I have 1 silage bale and 2 bales of hay. This time we'll do it like this. I think it might be a little bit easier. Because I've still got to try and actually access this stuff using our wheel loader on keyboard steering. So let me just start this one and move it out of the way. So yeah, that was operating the Merlot, and that one was done on buttons, and that's the reason that I set my joystick to doing buttons as well. Just because it's something that I'm used to. And you'll be able to see, like with the mouse, you're able to do things a lot more steadily as well. And you can also do the boom extension on this one with the mouse. If I can remember how to do it there, like that. And I can do that one slowly with the mouse. The problem that with... Hang on a minute. I changed that. How do I... Well, no course loader. I pressed the right mouse button and then it changed it. Why have you... How do I save? Settings, open HUD. Right. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm in a different vehicle. It does it per vehicle. It doesn't do it overall. It does it for each individual vehicle. There we go. So you've got different settings for each vehicle. That's actually pretty good. Although I don't know if that takes up like more. That's probably going to take up quite a bit more memory. But anyway, let's just put that one down there like that. And yeah, so with the mouse, and we're going to do this now. I'm not going to use my joystick. We're going to use mouse controls, and let's get the bales out, and then we can get the feeder over there. That one over there. We'll bring that one back over this way in a minute. So we're going to take this one over. With the mouse, you don't have the self-leveling option. Although, with the JCB, this one self-levels anyway. This one has auto self-leveling. Now, in real life, most loadals and wheel loaders and stuff like that, they all have auto self-loading. It's just something that they all come complete with. It just makes life a lot easier. But in-game, the JCB here has some auto self-loading, but most of the other stuff doesn't, and it does make life more difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this one here. I'm going to go and get that bale of straw, and we're going to see if we can stack this one on top of the next one. Before I do that, we just switch back to this one. It's lied to us again, and this time it's actually not even turned round. We're going to swing it round like that, far too sharp for what it should be doing, and we're going to bring it up to there, and then I'm going to engage the hired help, and we're going to set that one on its merry, and hopefully this time it's actually going to be able to do this job properly. We'll find out in a minute. Because the next thing that we're going to want to do up here is we're going to want to plant potatoes. We're probably not going to get to that this episode. Well, we definitely won't get to it this episode. I'll tell you that for nothing. But I'm hoping that at the beginning of next week we can start looking into planting potatoes up here. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring this one over here, and I'm going to get it sort of put into a position where I can get into this bale a little bit easier. Let's try that. And now I want to see if I can stack it up. This is where it's going to get tricky. This is where keyboard steering really starts to annoy me. This is where I really despise keyboard steering, because it's very, very tricky with... It's bad enough when you're trying to do it with a telehandler when you don't have anything else. If you look at my old videos for the time-lapse, you will notice in the older videos... I do try to avoid doing very much in way of actual bale handling. I don't go and pick up anything by hand. I've actually not done too bad with that, because you can sort of straighten it up as you go along. It kind of works all right. And I have had quite a bit of practice doing this. I will hasten to add that I have had a bit of practice doing this. So we can go in there and we can pick that one up. And how do you activate the second? Oh, no. Right click. There we go. See, you bring that. Those should be back like that, and then you go like that, and it bites into the second bale. But what I have often found is that when you're driving around, the bales do actually start to drift forwards, so they start sliding off of those forks, which is an absolute jolly nuisance. But I'm just going to do that again. We did all right there. I feel that we were quite successful on that bit. So let's just bring that one back. We'll lower that down, and I'm just going to pick this bale off. Go forward a bit. And it does take longer. You do have to move around quite a bit more in order to be able to do this. So we'll do this so that we're completely out. Up it is. You have not completed your task. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do. We're going to jump back to this one a minute, and I'm going to start it up because it's lying to us, and quite frankly, I don't like being lied to. I don't feel it's necessary, and yeah, let's just move on from that bit. We're going to come all the way over to this side, and we're going to start it working up this end. And then it should, in theory, be able to go all the way down through and do this job properly. But what I'm a bit concerned about is this. It's much steeper on this side. Is he still going to be alright turning? And how's he going to turn up here? He should be alright turning on this bit. Let's just watch one turn here. I'm curious how he's going to cope. He should be alright. So we've got a tree there that it didn't like. And it stopped a little bit early to deal with that tree. But that's okay. As long as it's done something. We'll go into that bit, and turn around, it'll straighten up. It's going to reverse up in just a second. No, it's not going to reverse up in just a second at all. It's just going to carry on from there because, you know, why not? And it's going to come all the way up here, and then it should lift and turn. But is it going to turn to the right first and drive off the edge of the plateau? No, it's not. It's going to go all the way round. It's going to drop it into the ground. It's going to carry on. Excellent. Right, let that one do that. We'll start you up, and... Right, you can see already that I haven't got that bale picked up very straight. And that's another thing. I find it difficult. It doesn't matter what I'm using to do the steering or anything. I find it difficult to get lined up to the bale straight because you've got to keep moving it around. And like when I'm recording time-lapse, I tend to put it this position. That's like the best position that I can do for not having to move the camera around. But it's difficult to judge when you've got things straight. And then if I go up to here, I've generally not quite got it straight lined up. So if I do it like that, I mean, I'm still not straight and lined up. But I feel it's usually close enough that it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect the quality of the video and the quality of the bale handling in any way. So what you need to do is when you're stacking bales, you want to bring your bale and you want to... This is where it gets a bit tricky. You need to get a corner lined up with a corner. It doesn't matter what corner. You can have that corner. You can have the right-hand corner lined up with the right-hand corner of that bale, or you can do the left-hand corner lined up with the left-hand corner. And this is how you pick up bales in real life. If you're doing it with a loader of any kind, and you're picking them up out of the field, you come up to the bale like this, you put it down near the ground like that, and you just gently move into it and you push it forward. And that way you've got both of them straight. They're both lined up. Back away just a tiny fraction so that you're not touching it, and then you can lift it, because otherwise if you're too close, it will just flip the bale over, and that's a bit of a nuisance. You don't want to do that. Then you can come forward, and you are straight, and you're lined up, and you can drop the bale down. Out you come, and then you just lower the fork, and in you go. You can pick it up again. Right, so it doesn't matter that we're not quite lined up with the forks, because the bales themselves are lined up. Now you can see that one bale is actually stepped slightly to the left, and it's correcting that little bit of a step that is not only possible when you're using keyboard steering, just because of the way that it works. You know, you're gonna move, you yank it right over and then back again. It's back to where it was. So you're not really able to do very much about that with keyboard steering. Whereas if you've got a steering wheel and you're able to correct it, then you can do something about it. You can just nudge the steering wheel over ever so slightly and you can make the adjustment. If you're stuck on keyboard steering, I generally don't use this machine. I would use the load all. And with the load all, you can adjust it ever so slightly. Just nudge it forward and back whilst adjusting the steering slightly as well. And you can straighten the bale up and you can get it straight on the... one bale lined up perfectly on top of the next one. It does work. It takes a little bit of practice, but it does work, and it is entirely possible to do it. Trust me on this. I have I did spend quite a while. I played Farming Simulator 13 for the majority of the time that game was out, and at no point during my playtime in Farming Simulator 13 did I ever have a steering wheel. I did everything by keyboard and mouse. And I used to long for the day when I could have a steering wheel, and then FS17 came out. I loved that game. I put in loads of hours into that game. But again, it was keyboard and mouse for the majority of it. And I didn't actually switch over. I didn't actually get a steering wheel until I started doing the Let's Plays on Farming Simulator, due to popular request on the channel by that point. I started doing some Let's Plays. So I'll bring this one in over here, and we'll bring that one back round there like that. I need to get a tractor so that we can get this forager hooked up properly. There we go. And we can bring those in and down like that. So it is possible to do some stacking and bale moving around with this one. It's just tricky. It's the same with moving pallets as well. When you come to go into pallets and pallet forks, it's tricky. And if you're doing it with one of these, and you've got pallet forks on there, what you need to do is, I'm going to just, let me just go over to this bucket over here. I'm going to sort of give you an example of this one. We're not going to go bother getting a pallet and pallet forks and stuff like that. What you want to do is, I want to try and get that bucket. And I wouldn't attempt to use this machine at all if I was doing keyboard steering and I was trying to record it for something like a time-lapse, because you've got to move the camera around so much to get it lined up. It's just not going to work. It's not worth it. So what I'd recommend is that you go over to it and you go close to it like that and just make sure that you've got it lined up. You first of all, you're getting it in a straight line. So that is center on the bucket. So we could assume that we'll just say that's a pallet. That's centered on there, okay? So we're happy with that. Then what you do next is you come out over this way and you look down onto the side like this, and you try and get those forks as level as possible and then down to the ground and get them close to the pallet, and you can move in. Don't turn at this point. You've already lined it up at this point, so now you're doing the second lining up down here, and then you can very, very slowly inch in and it'll go into the pallet and it should go underneath without any trouble. And then just pick it up to where you want to pick it up. Crowd it back as much as you possibly can and get it up into the air. Keep it crowded back, because when you go to turn, and this is the big issue that I always have with this, try to do your turning when you're not moving, when you're carrying pallets around. It gets very tricky, because if you turn while you're moving, it does have a tendency to try and flick the pallet off the end of the pallet forks, even if you've got it crowded right back. And that causes you another problem. It's an absolute pain. It really is. It's absolute jolly nuisance, that is. And it has made me turn the air blue more than once, trying to do something like that when I've absolutely had to use an articulated machine to do it. It's bad enough doing keyboard steering with a load-all and trying to do something like that. It just doesn't work very well. It's extremely difficult to get it just right because of the way that it moves. If you're doing this and you've got that pallet there like that and you're turning, you're either turning sharp or you're not turning very much. I mean, you can slow down quite a lot. You've got a lot more control over this than you have over the articulated machine, because the articulated machine will correct itself without you sort of having any input into it, and that's the bit that really causes me some issues. I really struggle with that. That's a real pain. That is genuine pain. Right, now the next bit that I want to do, we've got just enough time, I think, to go and try and do this. We're going to use an articulated tractor, and we're going to do a job that we're going to need the machine down here. So we've got to, you can see with the correcting all the way down through. This is horrible. This is genuinely horrible. I don't like this already. I'm questioning the wisdom of this job. At least we're not going to have to be very accurate with this. It's just kind of a test to see if we could actually do it. I'm curious whether this will work or not. So I'm going to bring that one back there, get it lined up. Oop, nope. Let's try lining it up the right way. It would help if I could steer correctly. There we go. And stop there. It should be close enough. I should be able to hook that one on. Yes, perfect. Right, so we've got the first bit done. Now I need to go over here. We're going to go back to our shed, and we're going to go and get the machine that I'd like for this. We're going to see if we can do this. Come on through there. We've got a new field up there, and that field up there is going to need some fertilizer on it before we get started. I'm not worried about whether we're going to do the fertilizer in the correct order for realism. At this stage in the game, I'd just be happy if we can have fertilizer on it before we have to harvest the potatoes, because we kind of want to get things moving. So I want to get back in here and I want to do some accurate driving with this one, and this is where it starts to get tricky with the articulated steering, because it's very difficult to do partial steering with articulated machines. And when you've got to have accuracy, it makes it a lot more difficult. So, nope, I want to go backwards. I want to go backwards. I want to go backwards and bring it over there like that. Let's just try that. I don't know if that's going to be close enough. Nope, that's not close enough yet. I might be able to do this still if I can just do it like that. Might be too far away. I may not even be able to pick this one up on it. Oh, yes, I can. Right, so we've got that one hooked on there. And we can just lift that one up a minute. Here we go. Beautifully done. And we got 900 litres of granule fertilizer in this one. Do I have any more granule fertilizer pallets or anything around? I was talking about getting a placeable and just dumping a placeable down to sort of represent that we buy the stuff, and I feel that would be a more accurate way to do things, because quite frankly, going down to the... We're supposed to either get like a load of pallets up here or just dump some placeables down, and so far we've done neither. I keep running to the shop to fill things up. That's not very accurate at all. That is completely inaccurate and unrealistic. Now, I don't want to put a placeable over there because there's going to be too much in sight of our mansion that we live in. So instead, what I'll do is I'll get one over here. We're going to go into there. We're going to go placeables, and I'm going to scroll up through, and we are going to go to... I don't know why they didn't have these as just standard game. There's one thing I didn't like about standard games. They didn't have these. They weren't there anywhere. It was a mod that was made, and I do feel slightly disappointed about that. I feel that they should have been included in the base game. So we've got a forage tank, we've got a pig food tank, here we go, seed tank, solid fertilizer and liquid fertilizer. We want the solid fertilizer tank right here. Now, can't place them there because I think that's the vehicle reset point right there. That's kind of where I wanted it. What about if we put it over here? No, I don't want to put it up there. I already said I didn't want to put it up there. If we come down here, we could... this is actually not a bad spot here because we can drive up around the back of this shed and then we can get to it. So we're able to go round in a circle to reach this one, and we could put the other one there as well. And I don't think that's not going to be interfering with anything. It's going to be easy for a delivery driver to come and load that one up. I think that's the perfect spot for it. So we'll drop that one in there. We could very well get a seed tank in a little while and put one of those in there as well. I've actually got solid fertilizer right there in that machine there, haven't I? I've just seen that. That's where we've been getting it from. Oh well, what's done is done. We've already made our commitment, and I wanted to do this because I don't want to keep having to change them around. Right, let's do that, and then we'll buy a little bit of fertilizer. We're going straight up onto the plateau. I was going to do the grass here, but we've already fertilized this grass, and I don't want to fast forward time yet. I want to be able to get those potatoes planted if we can. So we're going to go up onto the plateau with this one, and go on, just fill up. Now, can we get up here easily? I don't think this is going to be too much of a problem getting up here, because it's a huge beast of a tractor. No worries at all. He didn't even break into a sweat over this one. There is our Challenger working hard, and I reckon he's about to finish that job, actually. There's not going to be very much left to it. And I'm just wondering what I should do with... Whether... I think maybe we'll go and get the big potato planter rather than a... Oh, no. I was just trying to make a small adjustment whilst watching that one disappear off the side of the cliff. He's doing all right. I think he's going to cope. We're just going to try and keep running here. Oh, I do need to... No, I'm not going to worry about tidying it up. I'm not going to worry about any of it. I'm just going to get going. Right. Why aren't you running? I'm pressing B. Oh. Right. Well, this is awkward. I can't do this because it's got a... it requires a PTO, and I don't have PTO. Oh, can I put a PTO on here? Right, I've just pressed Z, and it did do a PTO noise. Has it got a PTO on here? No PTO on there. Maybe it will now allow me to do it. And yes, technically this wouldn't have PTO on it, but we can always say that it's oil-driven. There's no reason we can't have oil-driven. Apparently we can't have oil-driven either. That is neither That is not an option either, so we're not going to be able to do it like this. What we're going to need to do is use Challenger. I was hoping that we could do it with this. I thought it'd be really cool if we could go around using the little bud and this, but no, this is not going to be an option for us, unfortunately. So let's go over to here and we'll unhitch the PTO, the invisible PTO, and then I've got to lower it, haven't I? Right. It might be better if I move it over here first. Let's just move it towards the edge a little bit, and then we'll lower it down there. And then we can come out, and we can run along here, and I can unhitch that one like that. And then this one can go forward. Move it out of the way. We'll just park that one up there for a minute. We don't need that for a second. And then we want to go... Where do I want to go? I want to go to this one, yes. And hopefully, we can just finish this field off. There's going to be... We don't have anything down here, but there's a couple of little bits of cultivating that we want. I don't actually think we need to do cultivating. Why am I glitching? What is going on here? Okay, I think bad things are about to happen, so just in case they do happen, I'm going to say right now that it... I really don't like this. I don't like this at all. Yeah, we just need to finish up the cultivate. I've done what I needed to do today. I'm quite happy with that. Weekly question. You know what the weekly question is? If you want arable, if you want animals, or do you want a mixed bag on our next map? It's your vote, it's your game. Head in the comment section down below. Let us know which one you want and why. And of course, don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right hand corner. Am I glitching as well? I don't know. I think I'm kind of glitching at the same time. I don't know what is going on here, but this I don't like this. I want to hurry up and do this. I don't know what that's all about. Why has it suddenly started doing that? That was very strange. Not really sure what's going on with that. Whether it's something to do with that one up there. There's no other mods that I've introduced. Not at the moment, anyway. So anyway, yes, it's your vote, it's your game. Head in the comment section down below. Let us know which one you want and why. And don't forget to cast your vote up in the top right-hand corner. If you've enjoyed the episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And I think this is the fastest I've ever done this. It's a new personal best. But anyway, I will see you next week, and we will carry on with more shenanigans here in Estancia Lapacho. But until then, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.